Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
All right, everybody, it's Tom Foster here on the World of Marketing. Here with my good friend Chris Mullins, who has kind of not been around for a little bit, and here she is back. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Tom.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, and here we are in the middle of a pandemic.
I know, it's crazy. Scary and crazy.
Yes, and you've had your own little drama.
Chris!
No, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
These past, few months, years, whatever. But you're back in action.
Yeah, I'm back in action, ready to go, having fun.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know Chris Mullins is like the intake pro, the inspect what you expect.
Right.
Did you coin that phrase? Is that yours?
I think I got that originally from Dan Kennedy.
Oh, God, Dan gets it all.
Yeah, he gets it all, but I stuck with it. I stuck with it.
Well, I give you credit for it. Whenever I say that, I always give you credit because I remember you're the first one that said that to me with that good Massachusetts accent.
Massachusetts.
That's right.
Super.
And you and I have known each other for many years.
We have.
And you do something that is probably one of the most important things. I was going to say arguably, but I don't think it's arguably. I think it is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it is probably the thing that people forget to do the most or don't do the most. And they need to, which is focus more on intake and actually conversion of a lead, right?
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit, or tell everybody that's listening a little bit about what we mean when we're talking about intake.
So when we're talking about intake, we're talking about, it's the same idea as inbound sales, inside sales. It's the team that's handling all of the leads. So one of the new things I like to say is great marketing is not enough if your prospects don't convert.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is what it's all about. So intake
It's like leading a horse to water.
Yeah.
A horse to water if you can't make them drink. Your part is the making them drink part.
Right, exactly right. Yep. Exactly right. And intake, they're the folks that handle all those leads. So you're spending all of this time, money, energy, and the effort to get leads, to get into your funnel. And intake, they are the individuals that handle those leads to convert those leads to clients or patients.
And how many times have you heard this from lawyers? Like, oh, if the phone rings and I talk to them, it's closed. You know, they're like, oh yeah, but there's an in-between point, right? There's an in-between of them getting to you. And I know that, you and I have done this a few times where secret shopper, listen to a call. Somebody has done a great deal of marketing and spent a great deal of money on whatever they've done to get the phone to ring.
Yeah.
And the phone rings and the person that answers the phone is rude or doesn't say the right things. And a great prospect that someone has spent hundreds of dollars to get that lead goes away.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, there's no sense in spending the money on marketing if you're not going to inspect what you expect, what we just talked about. So it just doesn't make any sense. You might as well pull the plug right now on marketing. If you're not planning on pulling the plug on marketing, then just inspect what you expect. I just listen to a ton of phone calls from a law firm. And these are people that are working from home and working from their office. And not one of those phone calls, and these phone calls didn't just have intake specialists on it. In this particular example, it also had like the lawyer on the latter part of the phone call because they were supposed to close the deal. Well, no intake specialist and no lawyer, they didn't convert. They had no empathy. I mean, people are talking about horrific accidents and terrible situations. There was no empathy whatsoever. There was no relationship building. There was no asking for the sale. And even like if it was, a medical practice, you have the treatment coordinators that are on the phone and they're supposed to be closing the deal. And nobody's doing it, but nobody's listening and inspecting either.
Well, you said it right there, like nobody is being empathetic. Nobody is really, when people are calling up and, we're obviously the audience, most of the people that are listening are probably lawyers or doctors. Mm-hmm. And the lawyers that are listening are all various kinds, various practices. You were just talking about like a personal injury or somebody that was involved in an accident. You have to have a certain kind of person answering the phone there that has empathy, that can react appropriately to somebody that's in stress or is, is concerned with their own well-being or whatever, and is not, we've talked about this many times. People just like, well, what insurance do you take? Or, just giving not very good answers.
Yeah, we call it license and registration.
Yeah, that's good.
So there you are. You're the salesperson, the intake specialist, and intake specialist is used in the medical field and the legal field and many different fields. And here you are. You're asking your quote unquote screening questions, but you're just kind of going down the list: license and registration, question answer, question answer, question answer. But there is absolutely no empathy. There's no salesmanship of your business. Like, you call the right place. We get calls like this all the time. The doctor or the attorney or whomever it is, they're going to really look forward to meeting with you. And you made the right decision calling today, and you don't have to call anywhere else. You're home now. There's none of that.
Well, a lot of what you just said right there was some good stuff, because that's what they need to be doing. Most of the calls that come in to law firms and doctor offices are based on referrals anyway, and brand. And so you're right. Like you're in the right place. You have called. Yes, you're here. And the person that is answering the phone, and this is the whole point of this, of why I've asked Chris to be on this, guys, is because she is a pro at getting the people that answer your phones or respond to your forms, or the intake specialists, to make sure that those people get those leads or prospects to go down the right path. And that's really it. Because one is, you got to be able to identify, is this a opportunity? Do I need to get this person in front of a lawyer right now? Or do I need to get this person to talk to a doctor right now? Or is this not really a great opportunity, but I also don't want to annoy the lead. I don't want them running off to Google and giving me a bad review.
Exactly.
Right? That's the other part too. So you have to handle it right.
Exactly. Because these people, whether you can help them or not, you're helping them in the moment by listening to them and letting them vent. You're providing them with love, care, and concern, and empathy, and relationships. And they might need you later, and you'll be able to help them then. And they're going to tell their friends and their family, and they're going to give you good reviews or bad reviews. So what you need to teach your team is that every single phone call matters. You're not really in the dental business or the medical business or the legal business as much as you're in the relationships and healing business. That's the business that you're in, and that's what you want your team to think. You don't want your team to prejudge, oh, we can't help them, or they're lying, they're faking, they're not telling the truth. You don't want team members to think that way. And let's be clear about something. Intake is not just the telephone. It's not just the telephone. You've got web leads coming in, you've got chat, you've got, web forms, you've got the contact button. Those are leads, and you only have 5 minutes to respond to those leads right there and get them before they leave and they go somewhere else.
It's funny because I have conversations with clients all the time that are shocked still. I just had this like last week where somebody was shocked that they were having a chat conversation. Of course, they got it the next day at 3:30 in the morning. And I'm like, well, what do you think? I'm like, people are up all night long worried about this stuff, especially in the personal injury world or any legal.
Yeah.
If you are having a legal dilemma, that's the stuff that keeps people up late at night.
Right.
And what are they going to go do? What do we all do when we have questions? Where do we go? We don't have Encyclopedia Britannica anymore. We're going to go to the web and Google, and we're going to sit with our phones or our iPads in the dark of night or get our laptops open and start doing searches. Yeah. And eureka, that's exactly what, the guy's like, I'm so confused. Well, that's what you want to have happen. Whoever responded to a piece of content and reached out to you through a chat. And so you're right. Somebody needs to be able to respond very quickly to that. I don't care what time it is. That's why chat is there, by the way, and why, we work with Engage and Apex and other great chat providers, which are great and trained to do this. But the firm has got to be able to follow up very quickly, immediately. Of course, I know that you're very helpful with this in script writing and helping them and getting to understand what the goals are of the firm and helping them with their script writing, because you've seen it. I mean, they spend all the money on the front end of the marketing campaigns. We're going to do all of this stuff. Yeah. We're going to buy a bunch of pay-per-click ads. So we're going to do all this organic content. We're going to do all these videos. Whatever we're going to do. We're going to do a Goodyear blimp. A Super Bowl ad. And then they blow it on intake. As a matter of fact, Super Bowl ad, that's a true story. That dude that did that Super Bowl ad that was really successful, the lawyer, the phones didn't work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so you really need to start with the end in mind and go backwards. But everybody does it the wrong way. And so I agree with you, Chris, and you and I have talked about this many times over the years about really what you have to do is assuming, let's just assume all of this marketing works. What happens when the client calls or the lead calls? Yeah. Yeah. What happens? And that's where you come in. Let's assume, because that's what we're buying, all of these leads come in. We're getting 200 calls a day for this thing that we're marketing for. What do we do? And that's the critical piece. And
all you have to do really is remember that intake is part of your marketing team.
Yes.
And that's the breakdown. We don't think of intake. We think of them, and I hate to say it, but we still think of them as the gals in the back of the room.
Do people think that, really?
People still think that way about even the receptionist. And that's just not the way to think. These people, including reception, they are all part of your marketing team. And if you think of them that way and you treat them that way, right, you're going to get a lot more. And the thing is, all you have to do is when you have your marketing campaign checklist that you go through before you spend the time, money, energy, and effort on your new marketing campaign, just add intake to it on the checklist. So that when you get to intake, you can sit down and say, okay, how are we going to be prepared for all of these amazing leads that we're going to get? What do we need from intake? Do we need to add more people? Do we need to get more help from other team members? Are we role playing with them? Do they have a script? Are they ready for the types of ads that we're doing? Do they know the types of calls we're going to get? Just add intake to your marketing team.
And first impressions are like the most important thing. And a lot of times that intake person is the first impression, right? I mean, that's what people take away.
It is the first impression. The thing that you want to keep in mind is when a prospect is speaking to an intake specialist, it doesn't really matter what kind of business you're in, whether you're a butcher, a baker, or a candlestick maker, it just doesn't matter. When a prospect is talking to an intake specialist, the prospect is making a decision based on that person they're speaking to. They're not making a decision based on your business, your medical practice or your law firm. They don't know anything about your business enough to decide yet. It's all being influenced by the intake specialist. So if they say yes, it's because of the intake specialist person, Mary or Jim. If they say no, it's because of the intake specialist, Mary or Jim.
I hope that everybody heard that, because that is really, really big and important, because all of the effort that you have done, all of the marketing, if you have spent $100,000 on pay-per-click, right? I mean, it's true. And you have done a great job with all of that. And let's just assume that you have done a magnificent job on marketing, and you have gotten all of these people to come. And then Mary or Jim or Sue has not been trained.
Yeah.
And but they are your brand.
Yeah.
When people call.
Yeah.
They will, that is the relationship, the people that call, that is the relationship that they have with your brand.
Yeah. And that's what they're thinking about your company.
Right.
Mary or Jim is what they're thinking about your company. It doesn't, and the thing is, here's what I find still today, and even more now than ever, especially since people are working at home. Communication was poor with leadership to, let's just say, intake specialists before the virus. But it's worse now because people aren't working in the same offices. So we're just not paying attention to people. And I'm hearing still today from doctors and lawyers, when I tell them that they've got to inspect what they expect, just listen to the phone calls. They don't want to deal with it because they don't want to deal with confrontation with their
confrontation of their people that.
Yeah, exactly it.
That they're paying.
Yep, they don't want to deal with the confrontation. They don't want to have to find somebody else. They don't want to hear the truth, the real story. Please don't tell me, even though I know it's happening. And
it's costing me money in business.
Yep, they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. It's sexier to spend more money on marketing.
Listen to me. We got to plan this and plan it very carefully.
Throw more money on marketing. Give me more leads.
Right. It's true. I hear the same thing, but, it is a little bit, how do I say? It's kind of difficult. I've been through it with you.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of audits and secret shoppers. Sometimes you've done them to me out of friendship, which I appreciate, where you're like, I just did one and here's what I've found.
Right.
And of course I'm like, why? Oh man. And yeah, it's just kind of like sticking your nose in it and saying, you've got to deal with this.
Yeah.
But it's every business owner has this problem.
Sure they do.
Everybody, right?
Yep, sure they do. And you're not alone. And the good news is it can be fixed.
Yes. But it's not a one-time fix. It's ongoing. It's like, you've got to, and if you do it right, it doesn't need to be a terrible thing. And that's what you do. I mean, like, that's one of the things that Chris does is she'll do secret shopping to your calls, listen to your calls, give you a report on, well, this was a lost opportunity. Should have done this, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Monday quarterbacking, but hey, that's how you game tape and get ready for the next one. And that's, and then help. Don't you do you help them prepare a script?
Yeah. So, I mean, what we do is, and even better, I mean, we can do mystery calls and ghost calls, but even better is get your calls recorded.
Oh, yeah.
And we can listen to your real calls. I mean, there's nothing better than that.
Well, that's a great point. Let me just throw that in. Everybody should be recording their calls.
Right.
Well, that's a good point. Then you can just send you
that's it.
Recorded calls.
That's it. We just listen to recorded calls, and then we provide a coaching program to train your team. And, is it hard at first to look at this stuff? Yes. Is it hard for your intake team to actually look at this stuff? At first, yes. But once they get used to that this is the way things are, we're always going to listen to our calls. We're always going to monitor. We're always going to get feedback. It's not going away. And as long as it's done in a healthy, positive, educational way, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. And I've been through it. Everybody can, if you can believe it. And it was very helpful to me. And I know clients that work with Chris that it's just done a tremendous help them with tremendous success, improve their intake conversion.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because I can't stand listening to the calls. Buster does it all the time.
Who does it?
Buster.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And well, we have everybody that's a foster client. I mean, we record everything in DSS, so everything's in DSS, so you can listen to it.
There you go.
And so, but Buster will go in there and do his own listening, which to me, I'm glad he does it. But so, tell us how somebody works with you, Chris, and how you can help them.
Well, as I said, we do listen to your call recordings. If you don't have call recordings, get them. But
there's a couple of different ways to do that. Like we use Call Rails, I think is the software that
and Ring Central, Call Rail. There's ways that you can do it. Yeah.
These days, all calls are pretty much recorded, whether you know it or not. But
yeah, you want to get your calls recorded. Check the laws for recording calls in your state. We could listen to your call recordings. We provide a review, and then we provide a customized training program on how to get your team trained.
Yeah.
And it's easy, and it's virtual, and it's done by telephone.
Can you train the team?
What's that?
Can you train the team?
Yeah, we actually train the team. So we don't just identify the problem. We actually will train your intake team. Like, for example, every single month, we'll have a virtual telephone conference call with them. We'll play one or two of your real call recordings so they can hear it. And then we critique the call during the training class. And they're getting training. And they're learning salesmanship, relationships, empathy, and it's not an easy program. There's a lot of growth opportunities to be had, but it works, and you can do it. And everybody should be doing it. At least if you're not going to do it the way we're talking about, create your own internal phone training program where you do it internally. So you can outsource it to us, or you can do your own internally.
Well, I would just tell them to contact you because, basically what you just said, nobody really wants to.
Yeah.
Well, unless you know how to do it. If you know how to do it, Like I know a couple of people that are really good at this, like my buddy Jim Keller. He's really, he runs his own call center.
Sure.
He really knows how to do this stuff. He's got his own thing going on. But if you're, like what you were talking about, the more like me, where I don't really want to tell people how to do this thing. Like I don't want to write the script. I'm not really sure how to write the script. If you're one of those people, then you need to get Chris.
Yeah.
Because Chris knows how to do this stuff. She's done it for hundreds and hundreds of firms.
Yeah.
And I was just talking, and I feel bad because in my advanced age, I forget things now, Chris.
What's going to happen when I can't remember anything anymore?
But
it's because of all those guitars out there.
That's what it is. I was just talking to a client just last week that is working with you, that worked with you before, and then you had your little sabbatical, and now is working with you again. And I'm trying to remember who it is, and I cannot remember.
Oh, now that's going to bug me. You're going to have to remember and send me an email later.
I know, because I told Connie, I was like, Connie, remember, and then she's not here to help me remember. So it's all Connie's fault.
Yeah.
But the point here is that you got to have key ingredients. As everybody knows that works with me, we have this marketing growth plan, and we have all these pieces to it. And I'm not going to get into it here, but this is a very important piece. We have attract, convert, retain. This is the conversion part of that. Attraction is all about the stuff that you do to attract attention to your brand, to your website, traffic, all those things that you do, SEO, content, pay-per-click, video, podcasting, yada, 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 social media, everything that you're doing to attract people. Of course, there's tricks and techniques to get people there on the landing page to get them to fill out the form. Yep, we got them that far. That's all great. But then there's going to be human contact at some point. Human contact is when Chris comes in. And that human contact of whoever's talking to your leads needs to be a managed thing, like what you were saying, a part of your marketing.
Yeah.
That is looked after. Okay. Let's look at the calls. Everybody. How did Jim do? How did Sue do? How did Mary do? How did we handle this kind of call? That wasn't perhaps our perfect client, but they were, because that's the delicacy, as of, personal injury guys, as we were talking about, is like, okay, this might not be a great case for us. And these guys are contingency based and might not want to take this case, but we don't want to like, okay, not good, get out of here. We want to be able to take them empathetic and help them do whatever we can. So how do we send them down a path where they get resources and help without annoying them, so they say great things about us, and maybe they'll, hire us for something else.
And you can, and before you continue, you can feel good about what you just did.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, this is not easy to do. There's a lot of steps. And so you lawyer, and I say this all the time, you lawyer, you doctor, be lawyer, doctor. Okay. Be good at what you're good at. That's what you need to focus on. Chris, you're not a lawyer, are you? Not a lawyer. Are you a doctor? No. Me neither. We're marketing people. That's what we do. Right? So we're really good at what we do. You know what? I'm not an intake person. That's what you do. I'm good at building websites and
Right. Yeah.
SEO and all that kind of stuff. So I'll bring them in, and you make sure, that's your part, is that piece of it, is that you make sure that they sign up.
You know what we are? We are your marketing insurance policy.
I like that.
That's what we are.
That's good. Marketing insurance policy. You hear that, folks? Well, you know, I've worked with Chris for many years and with clients, and have heard from many other clients that have worked with her about how she's turned things around for them on intake. So I could not recommend somebody more in terms of helping you with your intake. You might not know that you have a problem or don't have a problem. Point is, though, you should send her some of your phone logs. If you don't know how to get to them, she probably does, and just give her a call. How would one reach out and
Get in touch with
set
me.
up a time?
The best way to get in touch with, I'm going to give you my email address. It is phone, PHONE, success, SUCCESS, doctor, DOCTOR @gmail.com. Phone success doctor @gmail.com. Just send a note and that'll get direct to me. And I'm going to throw a little challenge out to everybody. Here's a question that I'd like everybody to answer. And I would love it if you emailed me the answer to the question, and I will get back to you. And here's what the question is. Why should I choose your law firm over all the rest? What's the answer to that question? Email me the answer and I will respond. But everybody should know the answer to that question.
Do it.
I can already hear some people.
Do you like that question, Tom?
I do. I might have to use that myself.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I love, like I said at the top of this call, inspect what you expect.
Inspect what you expect.
Yes, inspect what you expect. And it's true. And you've got to keep doing it.
Yep.
And even guys like me that claim to know what they're doing. And I kind of do. You put things on autopilot, and I put things on autopilot. We all do. I think that, what was it? It was a couple years ago, because you do this to me every now and then. We hadn't talked in a little bit, and you called me up and you were like, I called your main number.
Oh no, Tom. Oh, no.
It was good though. I took notes of what you told me, and I went and made some changes based on that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't doubt it.
It's good stuff. But you can always learn something from Chris. And it truly is like the little hinges swing big doors. And this is a little hinge that will swing a big door for you in your marketing. And so it is one of the essential areas that you can tweak that will make a big difference.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of anything else that you got any books or anything that you're up to?
No, I still have, you can go on Amazon, Chris Mullins books, and there's 4 books on there. You can Kindle them, and Great marketing is not enough if your prospects don't convert is one of them. Intake specialists, the unsung heroes of law firms worldwide is another one. So you can find those online. But I think the biggest thing is just you don't know what you don't know. You only know about the cases and the patients and the clients that you are getting. You don't know about the ones that you're not getting. And the other thing too is when you do a program like this with us, you're going to learn so much, like Tom and I just talked about, but at the same time, you're going to also learn more about your team, and you're going to have a stronger, healthier, more empathetic relationship with your own team members, because the job that they have is very, very difficult, and they go through trauma every day with the types of phone calls they handle. So it's important for you to have empathy for your team and give them the needs that they have.
Yeah. Well, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that said, Chris, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to?
No, sir. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And you can do it.
You can do it. All right. Thank you so much, Chris Mullins, for joining us on the World of Marketing. Still
Thanks,
working
Tom.
on my theme song. You think I'd have one down by now with all this gear.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sing.
What can I say? All right, Chris. Good to see you.
Thanks,
And we'll be talking soon. All right, everybody.
All right. So long, everybody.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye-bye.